Yo, too, I got a major problem, man.
What happened?
Yo, you know how I moved out to the farm a few years ago?
Yeah.
Man, it's an old rinky-dink house. The roof is falling apart. Siding's coming off the wall. Man, you got anybody I can call?
Dang. Actually, I know exactly the person for that, for roofing and siding, and they can do your house, residential and commercial work.
Really?
Yeah, they're called Horizon Builders. They're started by local Hmong guys here in the Twin Cities, and they're your go-to guys.
Really? Hmong owned too?
Hmong owned, Hmong operated, and bringing value to Hmong people when it comes to reconstruction.
Hey, that's awesome, man. Yeah, because this is something I definitely don't want to DIY.
All right, so I'll get you the number, Horizon Builders.
Yeah, please do. So if you guys have any work that needs to be done on your residential house or commercial building at all, make sure you hit up Horizon Builders. They're a newer company, and they're out there doing a lot of great work. And we're very grateful for them for sponsoring us and just allowing us to kind of continue the work that we're doing here. So thank you. Play podcast. Today we have here very special guest. I just recently met him at a couple of different events, but you guys may have heard of him, Jack. I asked Jack to send me a short bio, and he sent me like a 3-paragraph thing. So I'm gonna sum it up. This guy is super busy. He does a ton of cool shit. So if I miss something, just let me know. All right.
No worries.
But we have Ger Vang. Let's see. He's a man of many talents. He's been called a jack of all trades. I like that. But you're a photographer, content creator, a musician, and a killer musician, if I might say. But then you also own and HAIB Media, which is a content. You guys do like funny clips, comedy clips, and you guys have been blowing up in the Hmong community and doing a bunch of cool stuff. Let's see. What am I missing?
I mean, that's pretty much it. you
Yeah.
know? Like you said, I dabble in so much that it's like hard to put it onto just a small paragraph. You know.
Yeah.
And so, but we've been operating since 2018, and so it's been a long time coming. I think it's like our 7th year now. So
Yeah.
it's lots of projects and lots of organizations that we had to work with.
Yeah.
And honestly, there's just like more and more opportunities that keep coming.
Yeah.
Even though it's like we never really expected it. Like we worked with Ramsey County and Hennepin County
Yeah.
to do some promotional for them.
Yeah.
And honestly, we didn't even think that was going to happen or the opportunities were going to come like that, since our content is just like funny videos,
Yeah.
So it's like, why is there, what's the connection, But
So how did HAIB start? Because you said you guys started it in college. So was it just you guys was a group of friends wanted to get together, do some funny videos?
We started in college because we actually went to a Hmong conference. It was called Momentum.
Yeah.
And it was a conference to highlight content creators in the Hmong community. So we saw like Calvin and them from Dick Dum Dos. We met Mita Yang from Mita Productions and some other content creators. And that really inspired us because we had the idea of wanting to start a content creating group, but we were just unsure of how to start it and like what are the steps and everything like that. So this conference really opened our eyes to just how do you start it? What do you need to do to be consistent, to be a content creator? And then from there, we had other friends too that were interested in joining us in our group, but they just never came through. And so after that conference, we met up and scheduled time to meet at a meeting room in our library. And so the 4 of us showed up and we were just like, hey, you know what? Let's start a content creating group. What kind of content do we want to do? I don't know, like maybe some comedy stuff just to have fun. It wasn't really like, we didn't have an exact idea or a niche, We were just like, let's just have fun, do whatever we want to do that just makes us laugh. And so through that, then we started HAIB. And we were all kind of like friends, or we knew of each other already in college. And so that connection between us was a little bit easier to navigate. Compared to like, just being a whole random person.
Yeah. That's really cool because like if you look at other communities like similar to podcasting, like the idea of like a sketch comedy group is not a new concept, right? But then like no one in the Hmong community has ever done it, right? Or dedicated or done it and dedicated time to it. And so for you guys to come out and do that, like it just kind of makes sense that we have something within our own community for that.
Yeah, is there something that drew that you guys like kind of drew inspiration from? Like, what are there like
Oh.
specific, like other like either podcast content creators that you guys were kind of like got some inspiration out of, or
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of the older content creators, you know, like when YouTube just started.
Yeah.
Like we took a lot of inspo from like Wong Fu Productions
Yeah,
to JK Films.
Yep.
And even other Hmong productions too, like Make It Rain Production. I don't know if you guys still remember Make It Rain Production. They were the ones doing like Hmong songs and real life stuff. It was really
okay.
funny,
Yeah.
man. Those were the good content. And those content, they're not like done like super high production or anything.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
very casual, like what we do now, you know? And so we've always had that connection and inspo from them. And we just took that and did it with, you know, Hmong stories.
yeah,
And
Yeah.
like taking old Hmong movies and like Hmong dub movies and just bringing that back,
Yeah.
but in a
And
different light.
recreating it. Yeah.
hmm
yeah.
I think that's like genius. You know, yeah, that just makes so much sense. And then the four of you guys, when you guys started that, talk about that working relationship, because like, you know, me and two, we run this podcast, but like, you know, there's you know, we, you know, there was a learning curve in the beginning of like who's gonna do what's gonna you know, who has what role and who's responsible for what. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, and that's just two of us. So now you got
Yeah,
four,
now you
right?
got
Now you got
four,
four.
yeah.
So how'd you
Like,
guys navigate the four people in it?
yeah, a lot of
and-
cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah, and how long did it take? I'm sure it's a constant work in progress, but how long did it take to kind of like figure out the smooth, like make it smooth a little
Yeah.
bit, you know?
Yeah, it was. I would say at the beginning it wasn't too bad because, like I said, we were friends already. So then, like, oh, if you have an idea, share it. If I have an idea, or if they share an idea, and I'm just like, oh, adding on to the idea,
Yeah.
rather than being like completely against it.
Yeah.
And so we were very open to that, and we always did like a majority vote.
Yeah.
So to say,
Okay.
if it's like a project, and we're like, oh man, do we really want to do this project? Some of us are maybe like, I don't know, not sure, and some of us are, yeah, I want to do it. Then we usually let majority vote. So if it's
Yeah.
3 out of 4 votes that we want to do this project, then we just do it. You know?
Okay.
And we kind of all pick up each other's slack. And
Yeah.
so that's the nice thing about having 4 people is you can count on each other to
Yeah.
help
Yeah.
make the project better.
Man, maybe we need to
But-
add some more people to this podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe
Well,
eventually.
I mean, having more minds is always good
Yeah.
to have more minds
You-
for sure.
Yeah, you would think sometimes like then it's just like more people butting heads, but
Mhm.
probably
I'm
like-
sure it's both. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
sure
oh,
it's
yeah.
both, but at the same time, it's nice to have, you know, like everybody's personal creativity only goes so far.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
sometimes it pops at different times. So it's nice to have somebody else be like, I like what you just said there, but what about like what you just said, but like this? And then you're like, yeah, I think that might work better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of good positive feedback from each other, you know, and that's the
Yeah.
biggest thing too, because I could completely think of how to execute a project like this, but the other team members could probably be like, oh no, let's not do that. Maybe we
Yeah.
could do it differently or say something differently. And that's always very eye-opening for me, you know?
Yeah.
And the rest of the team, we're all very open to that.
Very
Just taking
cool.
constructive feedback from each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry,
Mhm.
off topic, but I've been tuning into a lot of like young Asian podcasters, and there's usually like 4 of them. So maybe we need
Is that what they do? More
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
like,
I mean, because you know,
Some-
the more people, the more
Yeah.
conversations that
Yeah.
are happening. You know, and
Yeah.
like somebody could bring in a whole different conversation.
But that's
Yeah.
the thing that like me and
Huh.
Peng always come into. We talk about this a lot too, but we notice it in conversation as well. Is when we're having the conversation, sometimes I can just watch him and tell that like he's running out of like
yeah.
shit to say,
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
like, oh shit, I'm
Yeah.
about. and
Which
some-
happens a lot.
But sometimes I'm ready for to like pick up where he's
Yeah.
leaving off.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm not ready, so it's like you better start turning your brain like right now
Yeah,
before he
yeah.
stops talking, so that you have something next to come.
Yeah, so we might need another extra couple of people. I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
later.
maybe.
But yeah, anyways, back to HAIB though. Like, so then when did it turn into? Oh, we have a thing here. Like this is working.
Yeah, honestly, that was the hardest part because we were in this idea that we don't know what we want to do. Like, no, we don't have a niche. and
Yeah.
so we're just gonna put out whatever. And then when we started figuring out that this was gonna work was when Kevin he released a parody
Yeah.
of Pluton.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember that song, but it was
Nope.
like Haslubnituj
Okay.
because we were saying the Hmong lyrics in the English way, like literally how you read it, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Maybe I did see that
I
one.
have
Yeah,
seen
yeah,
that one.
yeah,
I've seen
yeah,
so
yeah,
that
yeah,
one
yeah.
it was crazy
Yeah, because that one blew up, right?
Yeah,
I
it
think
blew up. It was
quite a
so
while
random.
ago.
None of us
Yeah,
even
yeah.
like planned for it. Kevin was just like, "Hey guys, I'm gonna just release this video and we'll see what happens," you know. And so he releases it, and we're all like doing our own things during the day. You know, we're like going to classes, working and stuff. But our phones is like blowing up. This is like ding, 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 ding. I was like, what the heck? And I remember, I think I was taking a nap. So I took a nap, but I woke up because there was so many ding noises from my phone. And I was like,
what a great way to wake
up.
What
is going on? You know? And I checked the stats, and it was just like crazy numbers going. And we had like, I think when I checked it when I woke up, we were sitting at probably like 50,000 views already.
Yeah,
And it just like released like that. Yeah. We're like, what is going on? You know, like I've never seen this happen before, and so many people are sharing it and liking it.
Yeah.
And that's when we're like, you know what? Like, I think this will really work. Yeah. Because we've been doing so many content, but nothing has ever launched.
That's the thing with content creation too. Like sometimes, like there's what you want to do, but sometimes one content kind of shows you the path, right?
Yeah.
It pops, and you're like, oh. Okay,
this is what people want.
Yeah, more like this. But then sometimes you do more like this, and it doesn't work either.
Yeah.
So it's like,
because makes
you have to think more again.
We've had clips where I go, "This is gonna work. This is gonna go crazy," and then it's just like nothing happens. And then other videos, like other clips where we just kind of put it out, and it's just like, "Oh, this is catching on."
Do you guys have you guys found like a correlation of some sort between all you guys, the things that you guys do? Is it like timing? Is it quality? Is it amount of time thought into the project, or is it kind of random? Or do you guys have figured out something?
I feel like we've kind of figured out something. Yeah. Like, of course, for sure, we know that our followers really enjoy our comedy skits.
Yeah.
You know, so we know for sure that they like that. It's trying new things, like release times. Yeah. And the release time, honestly, we just thought about keeping a regular schedule, like almost like a TV show, coming out every a certain time and every day, you know? So we were thinking about that. So we like, every Tuesday, let's release content every Tuesday. But yeah, it was kind of.
You're not trying to tell us your secrets, man. So when should we be releasing? That's what we're trying to ask. Yeah.
But because you post with your business, I post with my business, and I think it's different for your audience. You know your audience. Who's your target market, and when are they awake, and when do they wake up, and when do they stroll online? You know, like and so there's like a lot of factors.
The good thing is like all these social media platforms have those analytics. You know? Like you can check on YouTube or Facebook to see when you're getting the most activity during the day. You know, and we found that we get a lot of our activity around in the evening time. You know, so that's why we always like, all right, we're posting at 5 p.m. So usually people are off work. And they're not like too distracted, so then they can actually watch our content. And same thing with like my other personal stuff too, like music. Like I've done a lot of research, and I was always like, okay, I'm gonna release it at a certain time because that's when most people are listening to my stuff. You know? Yeah. So it definitely is learning those numbers, but of course you don't have those numbers until you start putting stuff out. So just kind of do it without the expectation of like, oh, this video is gonna like, kill it. You know, just kind of be like, oh, you know, we really enjoyed doing the project. We were able to execute it. Let's just put it out. If it does well, it does well. If it doesn't, it's okay. Like we're constantly moving to the next project. You know. But when it does pop off, that does help you understand like, okay, people really enjoy this kind of content.
Right. It gives you a little bit of a light. And I think that's important to talk to, like for like people listening who might want to start into like content creation. It's just exactly what you said. Like you can't really think of like what you're gonna get as far as numbers. Like just do it because you want to do it. And then if it happens to do something cool, then great. Seize the opportunity. And if it doesn't, then you can either tweak it, you could stop it, but it'll tell you something. You'll learn something out of it. And so I just encourage people, like especially like Hmong people that are just younger or even older, like just do it. Like, just do it. Like someone's gonna listen, and just others won't, and some people are gonna talk shit about it, and some people are gonna enjoy it, and
it's out of your control.
It's out of your control once it's out there.
If like so to say, like you're starting as a new person coming into content creating world, like there is certain steps that you can take to help your process go a lot faster. You know, like
tell us about it.
Creating all your social media platforms like right away.
Right.
When you think of the idea, like so to say, like I want to start a podcast, then think about what your name is and open all these platforms first. So that's what I did when I started my Cool Convos podcast. I didn't even launch it or anything yet. I was just like creating logos and creating all of these different things that I need, and then starting all these social media platforms so that I could tie it all in together. Because you don't want to change or have different names for different platforms, right? Like on Facebook, it'd be like Cool Combos podcast, but then on YouTube it's just like Cool Combos because
Yeah,
somebody
yeah.
stole
Yeah,
that
yeah,
name
right,
already, you know?
right.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure you have all of those
Mm.
platforms ready. That way, when you do start launching content, it's consistent throughout everything.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like falling off on certain areas.
Okay.
Because that'll just help you maximize as much as you can. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's
I
a
like-
faster way
yeah.
to start it.
Well, I like this guy, man. He's smart
Yeah.
for a 20-year-old.
Yeah, for real. We had like No
Yeah.
Eggs. I think our No Eggs podcast, the two are still different. I think they're the same, but one just has a underscore.
Yeah.
And the other one doesn't.
Dang,
and I'm
we
like, I
need
need to
to-
change
yeah.
that. No, because
Where
when
were you
somebody
a year
looks
ago?
when somebody looks for you, it should pop up the same down Google all the way down
Yeah.
every single thing that you do.
Yeah.
Because I noticed it with my business, it's like that. But with No Eggs, we could put in more work.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're,
Yeah.
we're also, yeah, we're,
Because when we started HAIB, like we didn't have that either.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
That's where I learned all of
The
these
learning
things, you know?
curves, yeah.
Yeah, where it's like, oh man, we didn't start a TikTok. Oh man, we didn't start
Yeah.
an IG. Now we got to change the name a little bit, you know?
Yeah,
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So at the beginning, I think our YouTube was just HAIB, and then
Yeah.
our Facebook was like officially HAIB because
Yeah.
somebody stole HAIB,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So we're like, oh shoot, okay, now we got to change it a little bit. But from that, I learned a lot through that, and that's why I was like, you know,
Yeah.
start
And,
it,
and for you,
get
it's
it
like,
over it.
you said 2017, 18?
Oh yeah, so we started in 2018.
So yeah, so
Yeah.
6 years of making content creation and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I mean, is that kind of what led you down? We were talking a little bit earlier before the podcast started because you're doing
you're a freelancer.
Freelancer,
photographer,
video
videographer.
photos. So was that a hobby that you had prior to HAIB, or was it developed through? I mean, I'm sure it did develop through the process, but was it there before as well? Like, did you have an inclination towards camera work already?
Yeah, I have actually. So even way before like college and stuff. So in high school, I joined this program, and it's through this organization called Asian Media Access, and so they take students to this campsite where you're camping there, but during those 3 days, you're learning workshops about how to film, how to do
Oh,
Oh
photography.
damn!
really?
I want to go there.
Dang.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah.
'cause,
That's
yeah, we were just
In
making,
high school?
Yeah, this is in
Yeah,
high
that's
school.
pretty
I don't
tight.
know if they still do that program anymore, but it was a really fun program because we get to just mess around. We make
Yeah.
short films, little skits, just taking
Mm.
what we learn and doing whatever we want with it. And that did kind of inspire me to slowly go to that route of doing short films and short skits. And I always really enjoyed it. And so through that, then I started my kind of like filmmaking journey.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until college where we started HAIB that I was able to utilize my skill sets
Yeah.
now a little bit better.
Mhm.
And then through that, then it's like more training and learning more things just to better my skill set
Mhm.
and to become more professional.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to take our usual skits, the amateur look to a more professional look,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because that will really heighten the quality and then that'll hopefully increase viewership,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, and then eventually through HAIB, I started learning more, and I was like, I'm actually really good at this.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
really good at photography and really good at videography. Why not take it to the next level? So I started doing a lot more gigs for the university, actually.
Really?
So I worked in their
Nice.
departments, and I was like, hey,
What college did you go to?
St. Cloud State University.
St. Cloud, nice.
Yep. So I was able to work with a lot of the departments and be like, hey, I'm a videographer. I do video work. How about I just start doing some video work for you guys in this department
Mm.
to help you guys with social media or just exposure or marketing. And so I was able to get a lot of gigs like that through the university, even though that wasn't like my actual position.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, I'll just offer my skill sets,
Yeah.
And so they did utilize me. I was able to do a few interviews for them for their president that was at the university, and was able to promote just the different types of events that happened at that university.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if someone wants to get into like photography, videography, what kind of camera did you start with?
Honestly, so luckily for me, when I was in college, the university had equipment that you can rent out for free
Yeah.
if you're a student.
Damn, that's awesome.
So I was
Yeah.
able to rent like a Sony camera through them. I
Damn.
don't remember, what type of Sony camera, but it was a Sony camera.
Yeah.
It wasn't like the best, like the most professional,
Yeah.
but it was a good camera to get me started.
Get you.
Yeah.
Of just
Yeah.
like learning different things and how to do different techniques.
Yeah.
And honestly,
Yeah.
you can start with your phone now too.
Yeah.
Because our
Exactly.
phone quality is so good now that you
Yeah.
don't really
It's
need an
crazy
actual
how good
camera.
it is.
Right.
And so, yeah, honestly, if someone is trying to start, just start on your phone if you
Yeah.
don't have anything else.
Yeah.
And
No,
then kind of going back to HAIB, like, can you tell me a little bit about your creative process? I know in the beginning you guys just said you guys just round table or spitball different ideas, but now that you guys have refined it and been doing it for like 7-8 years, like, what's your creative process now? Like, are you guys writing scripts out? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, so usually we do write our scripts out, I mean, usually I write it because I have.
And are you guys just pitching it to each
Yeah,
other?
so it depends. If like Brenda or Anita is like, oh, I got this really amazing idea, and then they'll just kind of like tell me. Then I take their idea and I put it into a written form, like a script, so that we have a better understanding of just how it's gonna work out. How do we want to film it, and if we need actors or actresses or any other information that we need. And so because I come from the filmmaking background, I'm able to do that for the team. You know, so they just throw me ideas and I just write out the script for us. Yeah.
And then can I ask you, like, feel free not to answer this, or, but how do you guys have, I guess, because now you guys have a contract with Hennepin County, Ramsey County. How do you guys divvy up the, I guess, the finances?
Oh yeah, so finances we usually.
And who has control over it? Like, is it your LLC? Is it like all 4 of you guys on there, or now there's only 3 of you guys? Like,
so we haven't turned it into an LLC yet. So how we navigate that is we just keep it under one person's account, but that person understands that this is HAIB's money. So they never touch it.
Yeah, so you're just kind of trusting that.
So it's a trust process, and the good thing, like I said, we're friends, so that we have that stronger trust process with each other. So then we just keep it under one person, and then that money just stays there. And when we have to do like high work, whether we're traveling or we need to buy equipment or doing something, then we take that out of the HAIB account. Yeah. And then sometimes, depending on the projects that we're working with, what we started to do too was we call it the like, I call it like the 30-30-30. So you just take 30% of whatever you earn, split that amongst the team for their own personal earnings, and then save another 30% for taxes, and then the remaining just stays in the account.
But you guys don't have an LLC, so how do you guys? Is it just that one person paying tax, or like who's
so when we do taxes, then it's depending on the contract and who we're putting the earnings under, then they'll have to do taxes. But then we still pay them back through our HAIB accounts. So then, for example, if I had to pay taxes because I put a contract under me or to receive the paycheck, then I'll put that on my taxes, and then whatever I have to pay, then HAIB just pays me that.
Gotcha. Have you guys considered going LLC route? Because
so we're definitely considering it, especially in 2024, because like I said, we've been working with Ramsey County and Hennepin County and other organizations that have been paying us a bigger paycheck. So then now we're like, okay, because we're receiving more money, we should turn to LLC.
So Hennepin and Ramsey County are doing projects with you guys, and you guys are not LLC, but they're still cool with it?
Yeah, because it's still like contract work.
Right. It's 1099 work. It's
1099 work.
So it doesn't matter. You don't need to be LLC.
Yeah, but eventually, yes, we do want to turn it into an LLC so that once we do receive bigger funds, they all stay within the bank.
Well, the nice thing is you've just LLC'd yourself like 2 years ago, right? So then for you, you've already just
so I know the process.
Actually, the process already.
Yeah. And so, sorry, I'm like getting really into like the.
This dude's trying to find all your secrets.
He
trapped you.
I brought you here,
he trapped you to the. He was like, "Hey, let me. You want to come on my podcast?"
This. Yeah. Otherwise, he charged for this conversation, so we're getting it for free. So like, how did those conversations with Ramsey County and Hennepin County come about? Like, did they just reach out to you, like, because they saw your content?
Yeah, well, I think for Ramsey County, I think we have Hmong people in the community that works in Ramsey County, so I think they probably saw our content. I was like, oh, they do really good work, and it's actually very like community friendly work. So I think through that, then they were able to suggest it to, I don't know, whoever else, the higher ups, and then they reached out to us, being like, hey, we have this amount of budget. We know the type of content you guys do. Can you guys create content to promote our campaigns? And so that's kind of like how the conversation started. And from there, we were like, okay, sure, like we're getting paid to do content, and it's still technically our content, like it's still comedy. But now it's just promoting a campaign as well too.
And do they have any creative control over it, or is that just all? Do they just say you guys do what you guys?
Yeah, so they've been very flexible. So they just be like, okay, this is the campaign, and these are the things we want you to potentially mention in your campaign or the videos. But you guys have full range of just doing whatever you want.
What's one sort of campaign that you guys did for them? Like, just because I'm curious, like, what kind of content we're making?
For Ramsey County, we did their recycling campaign.
Oh, okay,
so
gotcha.
How to recycle in the Ramsey County, and just the different types of like foods you can recycle, and the different types of items you can recycle.
Oh, cool.
And I think that's
was it in Hmong?
Yeah, so we did. We were able to create some content in Hmong because we're catering towards the Hmong community.
Yeah, of course.
And it's honestly good education too, because I feel like most of the time us Hmong community, we don't really recycle. We just
Well,
kinda-
like, like among, exactly. Like among OG that came from Thailand is over here, and they look at their trash can. I got one with the orange lid and one with the yellow lid. What the fuck does that mean?
Yeah.
That shit's the same to me. But
It's all
so,
trash.
exactly.
Yeah.
This is trash and this is trash. I just got two of them.
cans
Yeah,
for
yeah.
trash.
Two cans. Yeah. But yeah, it helps that you guys come on and like actually do that. And inform and educate, and it's smart for Ramsey County to do too, because we're such a big population. Ramsey, Hennepin, any, like Scott, all those counties, we're a big part of all those counties as well. So like, you gotta tell us how the hell your city works.
Yeah. And you guys already kind of build a platform. You guys already have a reach within the community. Yeah, so it makes sense.
They had no one before. They had no one before doing anything in Hmong for them like that.
I mean, they do have like Hmong like content and marketing stuff, but it's a little different because for us, then it's like we are a little bit closer towards the community.
Yeah,
so it's more casual rather than being very like organization, super formal. And so I'm pretty sure they did have people doing it too, but I think they also enjoyed how we our approach to it.
Well, the best part is if you guys came in and then the relationship is solid, then like you pretty much have a job for as long as the day they change their opinion. The day somebody at the top says we don't need that anymore. Until then, you guys are good to keep rolling. Which is fun, which is cool.
They've been coming back to us pretty often ever since we
sweet.
worked with them in 2022. They've been coming to us every year.
Like,
hey, we have a budget this year. We want to work with you again because we really enjoyed the work you guys did.
Yeah,
and so
awesome.
They do like what we do. It's a very, like we said, very community friendly.
Yeah,
and they're able to just digest it a little bit easier.
Yeah. Do they set like a number, like where I need this type of video, but I also need it to hit this many views? Or do they set any kind of like goals?
No, they don't really have specific goals in that area. They kind of leave it us to be the experts in that area. So then when they do come to us with the budget, then we sit down and we were like, okay, let's work with this budget. So to say like $5,000 or something.
Yeah.
So we have $5,000 that we could work with. What kind of videos do we want to do? How many videos do we want to do? Do we want to do posts? How many posts? And how frequently do we want to post it?
Yeah.
And so we think about all that details to make it match the budget that they have.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then sometimes they'll come to us and be like, "Oh, we have $10,000 budget. You can do whatever. Just let us know what you're gonna do to make up the 10,000." So then, if we're like, "Okay, now we have 10,000 budget. Let's do a little bit more. For a longer period of time." So
That's
it's
awesome.
actually.
I feel like I couldn't work with the government though. Me personally.
Yeah,
as soon as they tell me 10, I'd be like, y'all got 15.
Have
Y'all
you
got
ever-
15.
have you ever, like,
Come on,
I
man.
guess,
We're about to
asked for
buy.
more?
No, not really, because we work and because we understand our capacity as well too. And we understand that we're technically not like a marketing company or
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
So we're really
it's
just content creators,
it's informational stuff versus if you're like, hey, make us look great so that we can sell more. That's like, what are we selling? We're selling fridges that cost $5,000 a pop.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm gonna need $50,000 for this video because your you guys are a $2 billion valuation company. Okay, we're gonna need right. Government is more, but at the same time, it's like I always say like people will always say like for business that everything's got to make money, and I believe that. Of course, it has to. Otherwise, it doesn't work. But sometimes just the door is what you need more than anything because the door is what opens new projects and like connects you to another person that also will give you that. Sometimes there's more value in that than just the actual physical earnings in that one transaction. And so once you get that, then it's like I'll take all opportunities because I never know which opportunity is going to open what door.
Did Ramsey County eventually translate to you guys getting Hennepin County?
Yeah. So,
Right. So
we worked with Ramsey County, and then slowly through that, they have a middle person, which is Meter Connect, and so Meter Connect is the one that's the middle person between us and Ramsey County.
Okay.
And so through that, then I think they also work with Hennepin County. So then they just kind of like directed them.
It's just like, we're already working with them.
Yeah.
That's super cool. And like for you guys as like young entrepreneurs to be doing that is like pretty amazing.
It's cool to get your feet wet early. Yeah. Sure. I wish we would have started. I personally, I'm sure you probably wish personally that we all started a little bit. I mean, the time is always the biggest thing. So like when you start early, you have more time to fuck up, and through the fuck ups, you like get better. And I started at 27 because honestly, I think if my business didn't start till I was 27. I think if I started earlier, it would have never went anywhere anyway because I was partying too hard.
Yeah.
But
Sometimes you need that maturity.
Sometimes you need that too. Sometimes you need that too. You know. But yeah, like I always encourage people, like if you're gonna start something, like start it today, because no matter what, it ain't gonna be tight. It ain't. It's not gonna be cool. Like you and be like, if you've done it once, then you understand it the second time. Okay, yes, like you said, I need to have all my social media accounts match. I need to make a logo that's easy to print and stitch, and like you think of all these little things, but until you do it,
you won't ever know.
You won't know. So like just launch into it, and it's time, it's effort, and it's errors. Like repeated, and then you create processes.
Like I get a lot of people that ask me about that. Like, how do you start something? I just tell people
you just
do it.
Learn as you go.
You'll learn as you go. You're gonna eventually connect with different people. You're gonna meet people that have already been doing it. So you're going to eventually. It's the quality of the work that you put out is gonna eventually get better and better. But like sometimes people are always like, I'm gonna wait till I have this camera. I'm gonna wait till I have this. And now you're already like $10,000 in the hole. And you ain't got one video yet or one viewer yet. So like why not just put all that stuff out?
Preparedness is definitely a good thing.
Yeah.
But you'll never really you will never be what you imagine when you start. It's just not possible. That's unless you got unlimited funds and you got a dad. Unless you got unlimited funds and you got a dad who has a business already who can tell you exactly what to do.
Yeah.
So you're talking about earlier. You went to you graduated with a degree in entrepreneurship, and so I have a younger cousin right now who he just quit college like after a semester, but he wants to be a business owner, and him and I were having a conversation about a degree in entrepreneurship, and he was looking at me because I didn't go through all that, and he was like, but you're able to run a business and you didn't go through all that, and I'm being the older cousin. I was like, you're right, but if I was 18 like you, I still would, because you're gonna learn something that I didn't learn. I'm learning now by going on YouTube and like all these different courses that I have to buy on Udemy or whatever.
Yeah.
But you're 18, like why not go through there now? So I'm not asking you to settle the debate. I'm just asking you from your experience going to entrepreneurship school. Like, what was your experience getting a degree in that field? Because that field, I feel, is pretty broad, right? Like, if you got it, you can't just go get a job somewhere else. But because you went freelance and you LLC'd on your own, what did the entrepreneurship degree bring to you now that you are your own boss?
Yeah, I mean, the degree, honestly, it's nice because you learn the basic fundamentals of what it means to be an entrepreneur, but it's not. I wouldn't say it's worth it because the things they do teach you, like, yes, they teach you the basic things too, but they also focus more on bigger scale, like corporations.
Right,
and for us, being like, people of color, we really don't have that resource to step into corporates right away. And so, we start as small businesses.
Right.
And
it should almost it should almost be like an entrepreneurship for small business.
Yeah. Because it's such a broad area, right? So if you just teach all the fundamentals of how to do a business or how to be an entrepreneur, like you don't know where to start.
Right. Or it's like if you're teaching marketing, but you're teaching it to a Fortune 500. It's not the same as teaching it to a guy like, you don't even have Instagram? That's different. Now we got to start marketing at that level. But yes, you're right. Most courses is like marketing 1,000, which is like relative to Fortune 500 company, which they don't but the principles, I assume, still got to be good to be exposed to, right?
The principles and what you learn about yourself in that moment is what's beneficial, because I learned how to be more disciplined. What do I need to do for me to be able to start a business? So I got to be more determined. I got to discipline myself and not have fun too much, but to focus on my work. What do I need to learn in order to take it to the next level?
But to play devil's advocate, for your cousin's perspective, he's like, I can learn that in business too. Like if I just start a business, I can learn discipline.
Well, that's what I was telling him. I'm like, you're not wrong. Like, I'm not saying you're wrong because because I didn't go to school for it. I'm just saying you're 18 and you don't have a business yet, so you might as well just do it. But Now he's gonna listen to this. He's like, "Look, yo, I heard you on the podcast." Yeah.
The
Jack
thing,
said it
I
wasn't
just
worth
feel like
it.
there's principles that would be good, but you gotta remember that I'm looking at it from the lens where I didn't have to suffer and put in 4 years of effort into that degree
Yeah.
as well, and you have. So
But I think what it comes down to is too is there's also an expense to going to school.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
We have to
Yeah.
tie the expense that's
where
associated
it's
with the
like,
education.
All right, do I go into this? Spend
Was it money well spent?
no, not really.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now you-
because
yeah.
I think for me, if so to say I could turn back time and redo it, I don't think I would have gone to school for entrepreneurship. I think I would have taken that money and instead
And
invest
invested
into like a
your
coach,
projects. Yeah.
to a coach or a mentor to
Mhm.
get me started. Because
Mhm.
I learned so much after college when I did go look for mentors to learn how to do video work, photography,
Yeah.
and how to turn it into a business. I learned so much more in that little time frame of probably like 4 or 5 months than I did in that 4 or 5
Yeah.
years. You know.
Yeah.
Because it's more relative
Mhm.
to like real world right here,
Yeah,
right now. What
yeah.
do we do? So
Mhm.
you talked about mentors, just because I want the listeners to know, and if especially if they're young people that are kind of ambitious to become entrepreneur. How did you find those mentors? Were they just people like talk about that? How did you find those mentors, and how did
Mhm.
you reach out to
Yeah.
them?
So luckily for me, I was introduced to this nonprofit organization called In Progress.
Okay.
And
What is it called?
So they're called In Progress.
In progress.
Yep,
They
and-
still around?
Yep.
Twin
So they're a
Cities? Okay.
studio in St. Paul.
Okay.
And they offer lots of programs and resources to
Alright.
teach you the media area, so music
Nice.
to photography, videography. And then through that, I was able to connect with the person that's in charge of that organization, and she was able to find me a mentor. Because the
Nice.
programs are also free. That's the nice thing. You just have
Yeah.
to go through the process and like talk about what you want to do in
Yeah.
that program. And so through that, they gave me mentors, and then I learned how to do more photography, more videography, and then the mentors also taught me how to start my own business because they've
Yeah.
done it already too.
That's what's awesome.
That's
You
what
know,
I need.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, me too. But like that's one thing too that like for the people that might want to go into business is like, and you haven't yet. There are a lot of programs out there
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
like assistance. Like I was able to find twice now. I've used attorneys for free from I think it was from the SBA both times, Small Business Administration or Association, SBA, whatever. But yeah, I was able to find attorney help. Like I would write up documents. I would just find like a template of like user agreements or whatever, and then I would write it up. I would just switch a few words, and then I would just go to the attorney, which is free of service, and be like, "What else should I change here?"
Yeah.
And then they would just make a bunch of notes. But like that's great because when you're a small business owner, you don't have the funds to just go hire
Right.
a big ass or like a real
Yeah.
attorney to help you. You need the free resource. And I've even had an attorney before tell me like, your problem is too small for me. I'll just tell you what to do because if you pay me, you're not gonna feel like you got your money's worth. And like that meant a lot to me, you know,
Yeah.
to be like, oh, thanks, dude. Like you didn't have to do that, but you did.
Yeah.
And so
I think-
there's a lot of resources.
Yeah, and the big thing too is always network and get connections because you never know who you're gonna network with and connect with that potentially has an opportunity or resources for you.
Yeah.
Because for me, like again, going back to In Progress, I was able to connect to them through Kevin because Kevin was a part of their music program at first, and then he just kind of like brought us around, and through that I was able to network with them and then saw those opportunities. And so
Awesome.
for like advice for whoever is getting
Shout
into
out
it,
Kevin.
like do your research, of course, but also it's your networks and your connections. Like, don't be afraid to just reach out. So to say, if you want to be a content creator, like reach out to all the content creators that you really enjoy.
Yeah.
You know, like maybe if they're nice enough, they'll let you know, like,
Yeah.
oh, this is how you could get started, or okay, I have resources to help you with
Yeah.
that. Because I've had a lot of people come to me about music or photography, videography, and I give them all my resources.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, go to In Progress, like sign up right now because
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
free and you can get all the mentorship and learn how to do it right now. You know.
Because yeah, like I definitely when we first met, like I reached out to you about like clips and like how you do X, Y, and Z, and you were pretty good about that.
So he's
stuff
been
about-
he's been fishing for
Oh
free
yeah,
help
yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah,
I've
from
been,
the
yeah.
very beginning.
Yeah, I've been yeah.
It's just been
I've
trying
been
to get
working,
free
man. I've been
free
working.
skills the
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
time. No, but but it's like it's smart for him to do that because it's the same thing that we would all do. Like when we're trying to figure out how to
Yeah.
work something, the entrepreneur side of whatever we're doing, it requires you to do that. And that's what it means to be an entrepreneur is to be
Yeah.
like, fuck, how do I make something look better? Like I don't know how.
Yeah.
Because if you got the money, it's easy. Just call
Yeah.
3 different
Hey, yeah.
videographers and be like, let me see
Yeah.
what you do, let me see what you do, let me see what you do. What's the price on this? That's
Yeah.
easy. But when you're small, it's like, fuck, okay, I just need to put a video. Yeah, I just need to put a video together. Hey, how do you make a video? And you can just be like, I don't know, like maybe 3 apps on the Android marketplace where you're like, oh, download this one. It might have a watermark, and then that's how you learn. Like, just somebody else tells you, like, okay, watermark, what the hell does that mean? Like, okay,
Yeah. That's like this whole podcast. Yeah. Like if you watch our earliest videos, it's like, oh, those videos were pretty rough and those clips, and now like they gradually get better and better. And the more people that I meet, the more conversations that we have. Even our guests, like we, if you tune into a lot of our episodes, like we're doing a lot of this where we're kind of fishing for ideas, and we're kind of like trying to get information out of people about how we can improve this, and then how we can take that and improve our own businesses. And so like this podcast, like selfishly, selfishly is just a place to gather information, and then we're also sharing it with everybody else too.
Well, you said you started a podcast too. Like, is there a lane that you've kind of established for where your podcast is or should be or wants to be, or are you just kind of free flowing and freestyling and see where it's you like it or?
Yeah, so I thought about it pretty hard on what I wanted it to be. And so my main focus was like entrepreneurs or creators. So I like to say creators because there's so many different types of creators. And so I want to do creators to help highlight what they do in the community and all the events or all the different types of experiences they have, so they can talk about it and talk how they started. So that my viewers can see that and be like, oh, so to say music entertainment, right? Then, oh, this is how they started.
Yeah.
And I could take those steps and potentially go into that as well too. Just to inspire people to chase their dreams and goals.
You're gonna have this guy on.
Yeah.
This guy, he doesn't know it, but like I'm always just like picking his brain too. Anytime we sit down.
I always say it's because you're just restless. And if you're restless, like I don't think of myself as a creative, but
just bored. You need something to do.
It's that, but also like you want to do something, and that's what keeps me busy. Because I'm not saying that, like, I think personality has something to do with it too, right? Because some people just need to put something out there. So how they do that, it's up to them. It could be like, or maybe, I don't know, maybe we just grew up in the age where there's too much fucking content nowadays, and we're like, I got to do something too. But it does keep you busy. Like, it keeps you busy. Like, oh shit, we got to make a video. What's the video about? So it makes you like have to think, and then there's like, there's the satisfaction of also putting it out there, people responding to it, and it can be a whole rabbit hole, right?
Yeah.
But if you know how to do it, and it can also help you bring money into the family and then improve your life, like, to me, there's no better way of doing it than instead of me going to work for somebody else and then I have zero creative process in it. Like you're gonna do this, and you're like, I don't think that's the right approach. Can I raise my hand and give you an opinion? And they're like, nah, bro, that's not your job. Like, I hate that. To me, it's like, no, I want to have a say and see if it works. And like Peng said, these conversations allow us to openly talk, like how we think about things.
And we brought on Dan. Remember when we brought Dan on?
Across the mountains.
And Dan, he talked about that because he actually got his degree in cinematography, and he went and worked in a corporate place, and he said, where it was kind of in that similar situation where he didn't have creative control. It was just like they do this, and he didn't like that as much.
I'm sure he learned something though. He probably learned something out of that too. Like, I think what big companies do well is, because they're always trying to save money, but at the same time make the most money by saving money. Their processes are very streamlined, and I think there's something valuable in that too. Like just understanding how to streamline shit more often.
Yeah.
Because when you're a small business, I think sometimes you that's the one thing you don't have, because they have such a big department with so much money that they're like, make it streamlined. I need a storyboard. Like, there's just more. Are you pretty structured like that? Because I'm not.
Kind of, not really.
Because I'm not.
For me, so the thing about my business is I've already come to find that I am getting to that point where it doesn't feel as creative anymore. When I do like wedding videos or corporate stuff, then it's like, okay, I'm not as creative compared to doing music videos or my own type of filmmaking.
Yeah.
But I've come to understand that this side of it, the part that I don't enjoy as much, that's not as creative, that's just work now.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get paid.
Yeah.
And then I take that, whatever I earn there, to invest into the more creative
Yes.
stuff I want to do.
Mm.
You know, like filmmaking or short films or music videos, then it's a little bit better there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's important that people also hear that because,
Mhm.
like, of course, we all want to do like the most creative shit that's fun to us and just
Mhm.
make a living. Like, it's just like me doing car detailing. It's like, oh, I just want to buff people's, I want to buff nice sports cars and make them happy. Yeah, that's cool until you start hiring 3, 4 people and like you start buying a bigger shop and now equipment and softwares.
Yeah.
Now we got to make money, yo, because somebody's got to
Mhm.
pay for this. So passion gets lost a little bit,
Mhm.
Yeah.
but I still think, for me at least, I still rather that than work for someone else
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
at least
Yeah.
I still on the lowest days I can still find some motivation behind my own projects
Mhm.
as opposed to just having somebody else's project. But like you say, yeah, you always lose a little bit of like the creativity side, especially corporate.
Yeah.
I just
Oh,
assume
yeah.
corporate's no, we needed like you know that 2-minute video that you made. Great, but we need it in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think one thing I learned too is passion is also like it's good, but you also have to have the side of service, right? Like the act of service. Like you're just here to help somebody. So to say, if I want to do weddings, right? Like weddings, yeah, it's not as creative. I could get kind of bored there.
Yeah.
But to me, it's more of the service that I'm providing for someone to capture a special moment
Yeah.
for them.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
so it's
Good way
more
to
for the
look at it.
person rather than me with the content.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
No, that's
yeah.
a good
Great
way to look
point,
at it.
great
Instead of
point.
just being selfish and say, no, I wanted to make it like this. It's like, but it don't matter what you wanted. They're paying for their
Yeah,
wedding
yeah.
and
Yeah.
they just want you to capture it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I've had a lot of couples come back and be like, "Oh my gosh, I love the video," and like this is such a
Yeah.
like special moment. So that's the part that I do that for, you know,
Yeah.
to get that good feedback and to make somebody happy because I
Yeah.
captured such a special moment,
Yeah.
rather than like, "Oh man, it was such a fun video to edit," you know,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it's a little
yeah.
different there, you know, because it's very tiring to edit and to film it, but I think it makes up for when they give you positive feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's a business side to it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's
Oh, yeah,
always
yeah,
a
yeah.
business side to it. If
Yeah.
you want to make a legit living, there's a business side to it that if you're too much of a creative,
Mhm.
sometimes can hurt you too. If you're
Mhm.
too much of an artist, it can hurt you too.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like you have to. That's why you have to learn a little bit of.
Yeah, and I think
be a
that's
business owner
why
too.
people hire different people to do different things, you know?
Right.
So then, so to say, me as a musician, right? I can hire a manager to handle all that expenses
Right.
and all the planning and events, and I could just focus strictly on music,
Right,
what I
the
find
art.
that's
Yeah.
I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So if you have the money, then yeah, you can. do
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Right, right.
So
That's the hard
it
part.
always
Yeah,
goes
yeah,
back
yeah.
to money. So
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you got to do it all
Yeah.
on your own
Mhm.
first.
Oh yeah.
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 And
No.
you talk a little. You've mentioned you're a musician.
hmm
You are a musician
Oh yeah, yeah.
with crazy numbers. How did you get your start in music?
Man, so music was my first passion.
Okay.
So that was
Okay.
my first passion way before even
Okay,
like content
even
creating
before,
and stuff.
okay.
Yeah. So I was like in high school, I was a freshman, and I remember we had these Hmong New Year shows.
The May shows.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, the May show, the Hmong New
At
Year
Henry.
show at
Shout
Henry.
out Henry. Damn, you're like
Yeah.
our fourth Henry grad.
Oh yeah.
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 You had a lot of
there you
Henry
go.
kids.
So then I saw them performing on stage, and I just saw the crowd of how they like cheer for them, and it's like roaring, you know,
Yeah.
and at Henry in the
Yeah.
that stage room.
Yeah, you knew Compton in them
Yep,
too,
yep,
then, right?
I know
Yep,
Compton
okay,
too.
Yeah.
And so I saw that and I was like, wow, it must feel really good to be on stage and to have that many people just cheer you on, you know? And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to try to do that. I'm going to be a performer. I'm going
Yeah.
to learn how to do music, how to play guitar,
Mm.
and I want to perform on that stage to have people cheer me on, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that kind of started my music journey. And I just worked every day in terms of music to just like play my guitar, learning how to play it, and writing songs. So
Yeah.
I was never really into the whole cover thing. I know a lot
Okay.
of artists when they start, they cover a lot of songs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for me, I went straight to original.
Original content.
Yeah. So I was just like writing. I remember I had like 2 or 3 notebooks just full of lyrics.
Wow.
You know, and of course most of it is probably unfinished songs, but
Yeah.
it allowed me
Do you-
to learn how to be a songwriter.
Yeah. Do you
Yeah.
still have that notebook now?
I think I do.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
don't
that's like
remember where I put
yeah,
it, but
it's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. Sometimes I do try to go back and read it and look at it just to maybe take inspiration from it
Yeah.
from my older stuff. or maybe just a song I never finished, and maybe refine it a little bit and then put it out.
And so essentially, so you started in music,
Mm-hmm.
then were you always performing through college, and were you always continuing
So
to
I
do
was
music?
very into the whole performing in front of a crowd type of thing. So at Henry, I was a part of the Asian Culture Club. And so all 4 years of high school, I was performing at the shows, and I was like acting in the shows too. So I did a little bit of acting there too, like theater stuff. And yeah, it was a lot of performance. Even though I wasn't like the greatest singer at that time, I was still putting myself out there on stage and just to like have that exposure.
I mean, that's like more than half the battle, bro. Because if you told me go sing in front of people, nah. Like versus somebody who's got the confidence to do it, even if they're not great. Like, I mean, some people are gifted, but some people can improve through learning and through classes and vocal courses. Like, but me, a speech probably I'd be all right. But if you told me to sing, I'm like, nah, dude, I don't do that, And it takes a certain courage just to do that,
Yeah, it's almost like acting, you just gotta like tune everything out and focus strictly on the performance itself. And it's something you learn over time to get used to.
Yeah.
Because once people cheer, that could like F you up too.
Yeah.
I remember moments where I'm just like playing on stage and performing, and then people will like start cheering. I'm just like, oh shoot, now I'm like thinking too much about like people like cheering me on, and I'm like, oh gosh, now I'm gonna mess up somewhere,
Oh, I feel like if I was playing the guitar, I feel like if I missed a note, I'd be like, oh shit, everybody heard it. But nobody heard, or like the few that are tuned in would, but the other would be like skip right over it, But it can be a mental. I mean, have you gone through that? I'm sure you've gone through that where you're like, oh shit.
Lots of moments that I had that, where I forget lyrics, or I just forget which part of the song I'm at. Or when I did play the guitar too, it's like, oh shoot, I messed up on a chord, and I gotta kind of like almost start over again. So I've had a lot of moments like that.
So 'cause now you're performing at like bigger stages, essentially. Like, have you like how does it feel to do that?
It's a really good feeling, honestly.
Yeah.
Like every time right before I get on stage, I'm like hella nervous, man. I'm just like thinking like, oh my God, I'm gonna forget lyrics. I need to like listen to my song again just to make sure I don't fuck up somewhere. But right when you actually get the mic and you go up on stage, it's just like a whole different vibe. You know?
I'm sure you just practice so much.
Because for me, even like before I started popping off, I did a lot of research too of like how to perform on stage. So I was like, YouTubing things and just being like, how do you be a performer on stage? Do you need to move left to right of the stage? How do you like hold the mic? Where do you hold it to have the best vocals? And so I was doing a lot of research before I even got onto stage. And so that allowed me to have better stage presence.
Yeah,
but it's a learning curve.
That's incredible of you. Like, one thing I'm hearing a lot of what you're doing is like the research side.
Yeah, he's definitely
You're like, let me research how I can perfect this. How can I optimize this, get the most out of this thing? And so where does that come from? Like, because like that's a gift in its own sense, right?
Honestly, I don't know where it comes from, but it's always been something I like to do. Where I'm just, whatever I do, I always research about it first. Just so that I at least have some understanding of it. Maybe I don't know everything about it, but it'll help me in the beginning, to just navigate a little bit and just learn as I go.
That's huge.
And that's super good to hear too, because like I'm not like that at all. I'm much more like I like to like go at it and like make all my mistakes there.
And then research.
And then research. But I wish I was more of like the pre-planner, a better pre-planner. And then do it, and then still make mistakes. Yeah, I just wish I was more like that. So I can tell just from talking to you, like you're very much on like the beforehand style, and that's honestly solid because that's at least it probably narrows you. It allows you to narrow down the problems probably faster because you had already prepared for like a plan, right?
Yeah, when I pre-plan for it, it helps me understand what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
But even if I mess up, then I'm like, okay, so that's why I messed up, because either I didn't follow this,
you
or
didn't follow the roadmap. Yeah.
So, but I mean, you could go both ways because I feel like both ways gives you a different type of knowledge,
Yeah, for sure.
Going into it head on,
sure.
and then you learn as you go, like it speeds up the process. And then the whole research side before it too, then it's just like, okay, now I could understand it a little bit.
At the same time, for me to appreciate what you do pre-planning, I need to be the guy who doesn't. That's how I'm like, oh shit, he does that. maybe I gotta try
Yeah,
that.
d-
So
or
there
at
is
least
no perfect.
incorporate a little bit of
it.
Yeah, at least
Yeah.
incorporate some of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's moments for both, but yeah, definitely
Yeah.
try
Yeah.
different ways. Like that's always me, is like trying different ways to see what works.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
me at least. Yeah.
And so now, like, you're a musician, then you got into content creating. Like, how did you? Were you able to apply what you learned in music and content creating, and vice versa? Like,
Yeah.
did they feed off each other?
Certain areas they do. So then with music, of course, performing in front of crowds, then that allowed me to get used to like speaking in front of a camera. Because you're technically speaking to a crowd through the camera
Yeah.
too. So I was able to have better public speaking, and
Yeah.
just being able to, so to say, if we have like a meet and greet, then I'm able to adjust a little better to talking to fans. You
Yeah.
know?
Okay.
I feel like being a singer too, the biggest thing that like I would have loved to, if I was, and I'm not, but if I was
In your
in-
dream,
in my dreams, is I would love to
alternate.
understand control of stage presence and crowd control by just your word actions and maneuver, like just the way you act, just the way you're acting on stage, right? To control or to vibe or to grow the energy, lower the energy, and having the confidence in doing that. I feel like that's super important because it relates straight to, like, say, public speaking.
Yeah, I mean,
And you can sing in front of the crowd, and like you
like-
could do public speaking and then sing and be like, "Holy shit, this guy can sing
Just
too!"
break out into song in the middle of a
like
speech.
honestly, like I
Yeah,
said,
exactly.
performing is like acting,
Yeah,
because you really have to put yourself in that mindset of, I'm gonna be this person and I need to do these things in order to make it look good.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what I did too, I observed a lot of other artists too. So
Yeah.
I like so whoever's trying to become a music artist, go to other shows. Like go to the local shows that they host every weekend, because you really get to see these big artists and how they work the stage. Like
Yeah.
David Yang in them, and even like Supryze and GY in them.
Yeah.
I really observe them to see how they interact with the crowd and how do they hype the
Okay.
crowd up. Like GY, she's a really good crowd hyper.
Yeah.
Like if you need to hype the crowd at the
Yeah.
very
She's
beginning,
dope. Yeah.
you need to have her as your first artist, because she's really good at hyping and bringing everybody
Okay.
to the front of the stage and just
Yeah.
vibing. And so,
That's awesome.
but one thing I've noticed that she does a lot is she really just speaks to them on a more personal basis.
Okay.
Yeah.
Be like, hey, come on, and like ask them to do things for you.
Yeah.
Like, hey, come on, put your hands up, or oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
say something. So then it's a little bit more interaction, crowd interaction.
Yeah.
And that usually gets people out of their comfort zone.
Yeah.
Because they're so shy at first, and then slowly as it goes, then they get more comfortable with the artist, and they're more willing to do things that the artist asks them to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I love about like you young artists is like, I think you guys have such a great sense of community, and that and then you guys are able to bounce ideas off of each other, and then you guys all collectively grow as performers, because like, if you learn something, I'm sure you're more than willing to share it with them. If they pick up on something, they're more than willing to share with you guys. So I think that's like really cool. Like having spoken to a few of you guys now, like I've learned that like you guys, there's a cool sense of community with all you guys.
I will say the younger generation, I think because you guys have been exposed much earlier to the openness of the internet, that you guys understand that collaboration is actually more helpful than it hurts you guys. Like you guys see that, like, oh, this guy's got talent, let me just reach out. Like reaching out now is just so easy. And I like I'm happy that I'm growing up in this time too.
Yeah.
Because reaching out is so easy. I do the same thing. I see somebody that I love what they're doing, like, damn, that's hella dope. Let me send them a message. Yeah, maybe he don't reply, but I found that most do.
Yeah.
Most do.
Yeah.
And most can tell that if you're really ambitious, they can sense that, and they're like, I'll just tell him shit. And then you're like, okay, cool. I just gotta tell him shit back. Like it's back and now we just back and forth, and then it does take time.
Yeah.
Because relationships still gotta be built.
Yeah.
Over multiple conversations and trust. But like it's so open now, and we see it more. Like Peng say, we with you, with the artists, the younger artists that we're seeing, that we've been talking to, we're really seeing that. Like you guys are really talking to each other and be like, let's collab. You got a show, yo, let's collab on this show.
Yeah. I think when we were growing up, it was starting to change, but there was more of that famine mentality. There was this idea that maybe there can only be one artist. Because I think at the time the way distribution worked, or music distribution, or art distribution was that, somebody has to give you some like a contract or something. But now everyone can just put their stuff out on YouTube, and like it allows for a lot more people to be involved in, and there's transparency in that. Whereas I think like for artists prior, it was more crabs in a bucket. Everybody was trying to fighting for that one contract, but I don't know. I'm not an artist either, so I'm just kind of
I
mean, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, it is everything's very accessible now. Like you don't need a manager or like a record label anymore. You can honestly do everything yourself. You just gotta, of course, know how to. And most of those information, it's like out there. It's on social media. Like you can find it on YouTube on how to like distribute your music. Or if you want, you could just ask somebody in the community. And everybody's very open. Like I've had a lot of people come to me and just ask me, oh, how do you, get your music published or distributed, or how do you start with songwriting and all these other things? And I tell them straight up, because what's the point of not sharing the knowledge?
Right? Yeah,
I'd rather share the knowledge because we're all growing as a community.
How do you get your music distributed?
So you just have to go through distribution companies like DistroKid.
Oh,
there's like a lot of.
So it's
companies.
Not just as simple as just YouTube.
Yeah, I mean you could too.
Oh, okay.
But if you really wanted to like be on streaming platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, like the major ones, then you have to go through a distributor. But if you're just like, YouTube, you could do that yourself.
Is a distributor the person that's like the headquarter and it just pushes it to all the places? Is that what we're saying? Okay.
Yep. So distributor,
distributing
I don't know
across
what
the
to compare
platforms.
to, but so you just upload your music through that website, whatever. So I use DistroKid because it's the most popular, and then you submit it to them, and when you want to release it, and they'll like send it out to all of these platforms.
They're almost kind of like that Bellsprout website.
Yeah, the one that
Alyssa Kayang was telling us about distributing podcasts.
It's true because you got to utilize every single platform available.
To maximize as much as you can.
Maximize as much as you
And
can.
so that's the only way to get it on Spotify, Apple Music. Like you can't even just go log into Spotify and upload your music. You can't do that at all.
Yeah, we try to do that.
We try.
You have to go through a distributor.
It's like hard. You
it's like they want you to have your ID number. Like they want to have your what do they call it? Again?
RSS feed.
Yeah. It's like
they want you to have like a specific ID number that's linked to you. Probably in case you do something stupid, they know how to track you.
Yeah.
Hey, go find that number.
Let's see. What was I gonna say? You got one episode out for your podcast. When can we expect the next one to come out?
The next one should be coming soon. I just have to finalize a few more things with the person that my guest.
Okay.
So my guest was Elizabeth Yang. I don't know if you guys have met her.
Love her. She came on ours.
Yeah. So I remember.
Oh, Chenning.
Yeah.
So Elizabeth is my next guest. And we're just finalizing a few things before we release everything. And I just want to make sure I prepare like all of my stuff. So the full video, breaking it up into specific sections for specific questions, and then all the short clips as well too.
Yeah.
So I like to have all of that ready so that when I schedule things, then everything's just scheduled. I don't have to physically post it that day.
Yeah.
I just schedule things like a month out,
Yeah.
Yep, and
you schedule your posts.
Yep.
You can do that?
Yeah. So you can do that on, I don't know if it's all platforms, but most platforms have that option.
Does Facebook have that?
Yeah. Facebook for sure has that.
You can schedule.
Okay.
You can schedule.
You just have to go through Meta Business, and then you schedule it on a specific day and time for it to release.
Really?
Yeah. That way it's easier if you do that, so you don't have to every day think about like, oh, I need to post this today or I need to post that today. It's just schedule out, and now you can just let it do its thing. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna have to research that. Yeah, because I'm still like, I'm still doing that exact thing where I'm like, oh, what should I say? Like, I need to post this day.
Because we're impulsive.
Yeah.
I'm like that too. I'm impulsive when I know that I should just be prepared. Like if I just said first of the month is when you line everything up. Not just that, but it's consistent, right? It gives like a consistent feel of like every Wednesday night this guy releases this piece of content about this subject, but on Tuesdays he releases this, and that makes it that it's just consistent. People like
that's the one thing I learned when I was getting into content creating. That was the first thing I learned through researching, is that you need to be consistent with your posts so that people get used to when you're posting. It's almost like a TV show. Like you always know this show is going to be on.
People
at
like
this
to be
time,
comfortable,
and then that will hopefully groom them to stick with you and be a fan and be like, okay, I'm expecting, No X Podcast to release an episode on Wednesdays. They're always going to be looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's
Incredible.
the name of your pod?
So my podcast is Cool Convos Podcast.
Okay.
Yeah, because I just want to have cool conversations, talk about things in the community.
And it can be found on which platform?
So you can find it on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. Yeah. So those are the 4 main ones, and the reason why I picked those is because those are the ones that Hmong people are mostly on.
Yeah.
Especially Facebook. Hmong people are all on Facebook.
Yeah.
And so
especially the Hmong OGs.
Yeah, we found that too.
Yeah,
we found that.
Especially
The
Hmong OGs.
Hmong
when they just
OGs,
started to
man.
learn about Facebook. Dude,
Yeah, the
that's where
Hmong
everybody's
OGs
at.
love the live feature the most.
Yeah.
Hmong OGs go live for everything
funerals.
and the
Yeah.
exactly and the wrong things. But man, it should get more regulated for one of the OGs because they be hitting that live too much and saying crazy shit, not understanding that it's once it goes up, it goes up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is wild, but yeah. So okay, question. Like, I don't want to like pocket watch you, but is this your full-time? Are you like a full-time content creator?
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
And you're able to make a living just content creating, or do you have
it's
like
kind
a
of
side
hard?
gig?
So freelancing is more of my main thing.
Okay.
And so that's where most of my revenue comes from.
Okay.
And then content creating, I guess, is my side hobby or my side business, but I do it pretty often.
Okay.
Since freelancing is my other thing. So the freelancing opens up a lot of time for me, like the weekdays and things like that, to be able to work on the content creating side.
Yeah.
And they're related
That's
too. I
awesome.
mean, in the sense that you're working with the same equipment, you're still using your brain to be creative.
Oh yeah, and a lot of the people I work with, they just like connections and network that I could bring on to my other things.
Yeah, if you work corporate for somebody, they're for sure gonna be like, oh, by the way, I got a side business. Can you help me on the side business too?
Yeah. It all kind of correlates with each other.
It all works together.
That's awesome, man. And like, yeah, I don't know. For me, it's just really cool to see a young guy be so mindful and be so thoughtful in their craft. And they're constantly working every day to perfect it. So it's just really cool. And that's like I picked that up from you like my first time meeting you, and I was like, oh shit, like that's why I wanted to make sure I get you on this podcast, because like it's we're 30.
36 soon.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But
definitely a little bit behind.
to see that from a young guy like you is incredible. So,
But it's also, I like to highlight in this conversation the amount of work that it does take too.
Yes,
so that people are not so, because people have to be realistic too. Like if you're a 21-year-old and you got a big idea, like bro, ideas are all good and shit, but ideas mean nothing until they put it into action. So it's good for someone to hear someone like you talk about all the actions that you have had to take.
Yeah.
It's because the creative side is only relevant if you're actually putting it somewhere. Like you got to put it out somewhere, and
because one person can look at you and just go 2 million views on YouTube, like, oh, I can do that. But then like to hear you actually speak about like the work that goes behind everything, learning how to be a performer and maximizing that is
the amount of times that you must have fell on your face, just like all of us,
Yeah.
is like exactly what needs to be talked about too, though.
Like, with music for the longest, because I've been doing music for over 10 years now.
Wow.
And my music didn't pop off till a year ago.
Yeah.
But I've
So
been
there you
doing
go,
music for
9
10
years. 9
Yeah,
years of putting
yeah,
shit
so
out there.
It's a lot of determination and just being consistent, because there's been a lot of moments I wanted to give up.
Yeah,
too.
but I'm sure you're doing something that you like.
Oh yeah,
Right?
yeah.
And so that's important to hear too, because I tell people all the time, like, work is work. Even if you like it, it's still work.
Yeah.
But at least if you like it, you probably keep doing it. But when you don't like it, then you just hate waking up. Like, I've never been if I wake up and I hate what I'm about to go do, like, I don't want to live that life. Now, don't get me wrong. If you got to do that because you got your baby daddy and that job pays you $150K a year, shit, by all means, great, good for you. But if you can still help it, like, always, like, it's just cool to find something you like, and then you will figure out how to make money. Now, sometimes it might not make money, but
but if you keep at it, it will eventually.
Yeah, it will
know?
eventually.
And the thing I always tell people nowadays too is don't fall in love with the destination, fall in love with the journey,
with the process,
because
beautiful.
If you're always trying to go for the destination, you're always gonna disappoint yourself every time. And that was me with music for the longest. I was always like, oh man, this song I'm putting out is gonna be a hit. It's gonna be a hit, and I've been saying that for the last 9-10 years. And then the one time, so when I released my song with Patsy that hit 2 million views today, I was like, I didn't even expect that to go off, as hard as it did.
Yeah.
And the time when I did release that or started writing that song, I wanted to give up on music actually. So I was like, you know what? I'm finally gonna let music go.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do it to be an artist anymore. I'm just gonna do it just to do it for fun because I enjoy doing music. And then next day it just popped off.
So did it pop off as soon as you uploaded it, or did it like take a minute to boil and then it just fucking went over the pot?
What I knew was gonna pop off was when I released the teaser of it.
Oh, okay. Then, so that already kind of
so I released the teaser and it was just like numbers were just going up really fast.
Oh, really?
Okay. It was like hella shares. I think that teaser alone had like 50,000 views on Facebook and like probably over like 500 shares.
Yeah,
and then my buddy Kevin, he was like, because I was actually gonna, I teased it and I wasn't gonna release it till like the end of the month. So until like maybe 2-3 weeks later.
You're like, I'm releasing it right now.
My friend was like, dude, you gotta just release it right now. Like it's popping off. Then that's just the teaser. And I was like, thinking, I was like, oh man, but I wanted to be like more professional with it, like to market it and then like build up to it. But then I was like, sure, let's do it.
But content is moving so fast. If you wait a month, people probably forget
when
about
when
it
it's
already.
hot, like just release it.
You gotta jump on it.
Just do it because it gets mild and it goes back to cool very fast too.
Yeah, that's what I've learned about the Hmong community, or at least releasing music as a Hmong artist is because American artists, they be promoting it like months out before they release it, but the Hmong community is moving so fast that you should promote it like just a week of. So I can start promoting it or teasing it out on Monday and release it Friday. If you do it longer than a week, people forget about it.
Because there's so many things, so much stuff, so much content being pushed out.
I feel like your piece of content and your trailer, they have to be hitting almost at the same time together, as opposed to just one, and then you hope that maybe in 2 weeks they'll remember. Like, no, this one's got to be so hot that right when you see the trailer, you're like, where's the second link for the actual thing?
Like, I want to see it now,
where's the link to the actual one?
People have a short attention span, so it's like you got to give it to them right away, especially if they're really wanting it,
Yeah.
Should we be teasing the podcast? Should we be putting a clip out?
I don't know. Trial and error.
Okay.
Trial and error.
Before we put out the full episodes, should we put out like maybe a clip first? Tease it like at least a couple hours or a day before?
I always feel like for podcasting, it's better to just have the full video.
Yeah.
And then you have the clips.
Yeah.
Because
then it gives them something to click on.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Because, you don't want to show them a clip that's 30 seconds and it's a really good topic, but the video's not there. Then it's like, oh, what the heck?
Yeah.
And then they'll probably like forget about it,
Yeah.
So it's better to just have the full episode and then do clips so that people see the clip and they can have a link to go to the full video. Yeah.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah, that's
genius.
That makes sense.
Look at this guy.
But
question for you. So we always do. Anytime we bring an artist on, we always do top 5 artists.
And just so you know, these ones always get a ton of engagement with 50-50. Some people like what you say, and no, I'd say 20% like what you say. 80% will always say his top 5 sucks, but we like to say it because you're an artist, so we always are curious to hear.
Yeah, and then okay, let's preface this too. Top 5 uprising artists, like who to look out for. Because we can go into like the legends, right? But who should we be looking out for? If we're interested in like new music, like who's on the come up?
Yeah.
Top 5 in no particular order. Okay.
Yeah. There's like a lot of them right now. That's the hard part. I think.
Well, you can go 10 if you want.
Oh, no, I don't know.
The more names,
3,
the more names, the better.
I think so. Zuvi, he's on the come up.
Zuvi.
Yeah, if you guys don't know him, look him up. Zuvi, he just had a song that hit 1 million views.
Okay.
Recently, and then
so many guys hitting 1 million. That's incredible.
And then I'm like trying to think about all the, because I'm trying to consider, are they uprising or have they been an artist?
Okay.
So,
but past 5 years.
I believe Lee Dong's on the come up. I don't know if you guys heard of Lee Dong. He's an artist in Wisconsin. His music is like slowly rising. Like he hasn't hit the 1 million views and stuff yet, but it's slowly getting more traction. He's been getting a lot more performances.
Awesome.
And then Hua Xiong, she's on the come up. She's about to drop some of her originals.
Okay.
And she's got a real good voice, and she's already building an audience for herself, even though she hasn't really released much like produced music. So she's on the come up. Let's see who else. New song. She's a lot more into like the pop vibes.
Yeah.
But she's really good because the nice thing about New Song too is she's incorporating dance. into her. So she has choreos.
Oh, nice.
Too.
Yeah.
So that's something different because not a lot of artists have choreos.
That is true, huh? Yeah,
So
we haven't seen
that.
too much of that.
So she's really good there. Let's see. Who else? Last one. On the come up. Huey V. So
Huey V. Okay.
He used to do a lot more music, but then he slowed down a bit, and now he's just on the come up.
Okay.
And he's a buddy of mine too, so he's been working and cooking a lot of music right now. And I'm pretty sure when he drops it, I don't think he's gonna do an album, but he's gonna have a lot of tracks coming out.
Yeah. Okay.
And he's gonna be on, like he's gonna have a lot of feature artists too on his stuff.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. Those 5. I mean, like I said, there's a lot more. Because I already feel there's a new wave of aspiring artists coming into the game. Because you know how every few years there's.
I feel like there's we've talked about this a few times. I feel like there's like I don't listen to Hmong music a ton, but when I like a lot of time I'll generically type Hmong music 2024. Boom! I'm like, dang, this music all over because now the Lao kids and the Hmong Thai they're coming out with shit too at the same time, and they're popular too over here, and you guys are popular there, vice versa, and French ones too. So it's like now when I click Hmong 2024 pop or rap, bro, it's like so many, and then I look at the upload dates, and I'm like, oh. Upload 3 weeks ago, upload a month ago. I'm like, dang, dude, these kids are, everybody's like
I feel
working hard.
Recently, we've been getting a lot of like exposure to, different Hmong artists from different countries, So the Lao artists are now getting more exposed to us.
But it's cool because they're coming for like Supryze Fest and y'all get to go perform over there. So it's like, it's cool for everyone.
Yeah.
Because if I was an artist and you told me, hey, you want to come perform? Or even if I was the one that reached out and said, can I come perform there? It's like, oh, I get a free trip to Thailand out of it. Like, okay, just if y'all can just pay the plane ticket, I'll pay for the rest. But at least I get to go see Thailand and I get to perform there and have an experience.
I mean, the one thing that why a lot of Hmong-American artists don't really go overseas is because of the whole cash exchange.
Yeah.
Right? Like the money exchange is so different, So that's why not a lot of us artists here goes over to like Laos or something, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Because then we're probably not going to make a lot of money.
No,
if you're going, it's really for exposure.
Yeah.
And just like being able to perform over there.
Yeah.
But then when overseas artists come here to do like concerts and stuff, they make, hell of
a banking.
Bro, if I was from over there, because I went over there last year, and so I had to exchange money and stuff. But I just imagine that if I lived in Laos and I had to come here, and y'all paid me just like $5,000 US dollars, and I get to take that back and trade it for bots or keep, bro.
Yeah, dude.
And the thing is, like, it's not just like the $5,000 that you're getting from the promoters. It's like people are just handing you cash,
cash and
like
stuff.
anytime the Hmong artists come here to the state, like if they performing, like,
you just gotta deal with
cash.
Yeah, you just gotta deal with Hmong-American criticism. But that's all right. That's gonna happen
and
anyway.
I guess people trying to kiss you at
events.
Yeah.
No, but I always tell people, like a lot of our promoters here too. I'm just like, if you guys do like a big festival, kind of like Supryze Fest, but Hmong festival.
Well, we have the Yaya Fest. Right?
Yaya Fest. So that's been rolling now.
Yeah.
But I'm like, if you guys really wanted to be successful and like hella take it to the next game, just bring overseas artists.
Yeah.
Because if you look at it, all the overseas artists that's come here so far, within like the past year, they've all sold out every concert.
And they're like you see them. I don't go to them, but I see my Facebook blow up, and I'm like, oh, it's because they came from overseas. Anybody want to see them because they know that because now you got an extra item to play on. You play on the item that like they're only here like now. So you either show up or you don't, but you got to show up now because they're gonna go back, and so they got that extra incentive for them. But like you said, at the same time, then you got to deal with some creeper trying to kiss you. So.
Yeah. I mean, I think as long as the promoters are smart about that,
they got to be good too. They got to be good too. Live and learn.
I have another question. So okay, what makes a good artist? So because there's raw talent like singing. There's probably some promotion, right? So like, what are like, if you had to like make one in the lab, how would you go about doing that?
Yeah, I think they need to have vocal ability already. So they need to be able to sing already. So
singing one.
Yeah, singing is number one because that's the technical skill you need, right?
Yeah.
And so singing and then being able to market yourself.
Okay.
Yeah. Those are the two most important because like there's a lot of artists out there that can sing really good, but they don't really market themselves that well. And they don't like take a lot of photos of themselves and really put themselves out there. Then they're not like noticed at all. But they're like killing it with their vocals. And then there's artists out there who doesn't really have that good vocals, but they're really good on the marketing side. And their like faces constantly out there that people just know them because of that, you know?
People just think that
So those two kind of play hand in hand. But if you have both of them, then you're golden. Like you can make it anywhere.
Okay. All right.
That's what's up.
Maybe time for you to start your singing career too.
Yeah, for real. Well, I don't have the singing part, but I'm gonna just fucking market hard.
Dude, yeah, because there's some artists that are like sure they can sing too, but
I'm
they're not the
auto-tune.
greatest.
I'm auto-tune most of it.
Yeah. But if they like can sort of say dance on stage or just be really good at connecting with the crowd, like they'll kill it.
I mean, what if I'm not a great singer, but I use a track that's auto-tuned, I dub my voice, and then I do backflips on stage?
Yeah.
Because who else is doing backflips on stage? If I did 10 backflips in 3 minutes.
You probably could.
Dude, And I mean, if you think about like, you know, pop music or like K-pop and stuff, dude, most of the time they're not even
performance.
Singing,
it's performance.
Yeah. That's like the next level.
It's energy. It's energy.
You're not even singing. You're just doing ad-libs.
No, but it is because stage presence is energy. And it still comes down to money, but like if you go on stage and you have a band, you're a shitty singer, but you have a cool band behind you, and you come out in this fucking pyrotechnics, people are gonna be like, yo, this show is wild.
Hey, that's what you gotta do. You gotta hire us to do your set design next time, man. We're gonna.
It's true, man. And then you just come down a rope swinging. People are like, what? Never seen a Hmong guy do this before.
No, that's honestly, I always say that's the next level.
Performance, you know,
performance.
Look at that.
You can go up there and sing,
that too, man. I think you can do it too.
I mean, you just gotta do something crazy. You just gotta do something crazy. I mean, it's just something crazy, right? And then having good stage presence, and then involving the people, and then and regardless, I think as an artist, or not me as an artist, but I think if you're an artist, some people are gonna like you and some people are gonna hate you anyway. Because they just you might just not be like what they listen to in that moment in time. Like I hated country music for the longest time, and now I love country. But you asked me when I was a teenager, I would say country's whack. I like rap, and now it's changed. So it doesn't matter. People are gonna flip flop regardless.
That's the thing with being an artist. You have to be able to just focus on the good. Like there's always gonna be the bad or the haters, and that's always gonna happen no matter what. So just focus on the good, right? Like the fans who do actually like your music.
Do you get crazy comments?
Sometimes, Sometimes you get some random ass comments talking about like people or other people. Or being like,
I can only imagine.
I love this feature, or like, I love her so much. Like, can I get her number? I'm like, what the hell? We're just doing a song, dude.
Yeah.
So there's very crazy comments.
Yeah. No, that's funny. Okay, we're at an hour and 22, so we've definitely been going for a minute.
Yeah, this is good.
Before we go, we always also ask, where do the people find everything that you got going on? Whether it be your singing stuff, your podcast, hi. Where do people find you? Which platforms?
A long list of stuff.
Yeah, I know. With your list,
I've got to get better at that to just combine all the things I do into one. But I do have multiple platforms. So if you want to find my freelancing, I do have a Facebook page called Jack GV Studios, and I do have a website called jackgvstudios.com. I think, I don't think LLC is in there. And then I do have a YouTube, but I don't really use that for Jack GV Studios. Really, it's just there so that I have the footage to be a portfolio, you know? And then if you want to find my music, you can look me up, Jack GV Music, on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram too. But I mostly stay on Facebook and YouTube. And then for HAIB, we do have a website. It's officially HAIB.com.
And officially, and then HAIB is spelled HAIB.
Yep, HAIB, like hi and Hmong, like hi, you know, like you're really cool. And so we have our website, officially HAIB.com. And then we have YouTube as well. It's just HAIB, HAIB. And then we also have Facebook, which is also just HAIB. And we do have a TikTok, which is also just HAIB.
Look at that.
Dope. Yeah,
this guy
and then podcasting, I guess my podcast too, Cool Convos Podcast.
Yes, there we go.
Yeah, you can find me on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. Just look up Cool Convos Podcast, and you can find all my episodes and short clips there. If you want to check that out.
The man is busy.
Yeah, look at that.
And so, what am I missing?
Keep
I think
going.
that's everything. Yeah,
if you can find him through all those, you'll find the other missing ones.
Yeah.
You know,
Usually
I'm not looking forward to doing the description of this. I gotta go find all these things and copy and paste all the link
no
all
worries.
these things.
Yeah, like I said, that's why I have to find a way to integrate all of them. And I recently found out too, even from Elizabeth Yang, that you should put all of your content, all of your.
Do you have a personal website of just your name?
I don't.
Yeah, because that's my next thing too. That's my next thing too. Because through that I can just do Linktree and have everything.
Have everything on there. That way it's easier for them to find whatever you need to do. I mean, but the reason why I had separate ones, because they're all different.
Yeah, the different projects.
And so it's like, if you're looking for photography, don't come to my music page.
Yeah.
Like, you can go to my business.
I'm not gonna go listen to your podcast to learn about how can you make a video for my business.
Yeah. So, but I guess the good thing is everything's attached to each other. If you have just one profile that they go to.
I think the gist is that the man is busy.
Yeah.
And he's got he's multi-skilled. And he's got experience at a young age that he's been doing for shit.
And he's putting the work behind it.
And he's
he's doing the work behind the scenes. I think that's the most important.
You have to. You got to be determined. Like, you can't wait for opportunities to come to you. You got to go create the opportunity.
What do they say? Success is. What do they say? It's like it's when luck meets preparedness.
Yeah,
no, luck is
preparation meets
something like that. Yeah. Anyways,
obviously we're not prepared.
Yeah, obviously
prepare yourselves, and don't be afraid, because I think that's where most people fall off of their like dreams and passions, is that they're afraid and they have a mindset that they judge themselves already. So don't judge yourself. Just kind of go out there and do it, and you'll find your way. Because if you are too afraid and you keep holding yourself back or come up with excuses, then you're never gonna start.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right. Well, hour and a half on the books. We'll wrap it up for today's episode. And thank you very much for coming and sharing your knowledge. And I hope that you guys that are listening or watching right now will definitely go check out his stuff and help him grow too.
Yeah, definitely take notes, guys. This was a good one.
All right. See you guys.
Thank you.